Okay, it's Saturday morning, January 6th, 7:11 a.m. Been up for a bit, since like 5 something. But something that I keep thinking about after hearing um how you say it is fleur brune. Means brown flower. Fleur brune. So I was watching her I forget the title of it. It's probably not the most recent one. Anyway, I can't. It was when. Anyway, what she was talking about in the video. If I can find it, I'll put the link below. But I'll put the link to my video below so you can understand what I'm talking about. Because at the time, okay, this is when all this like Morgellons, TI stuff, targeted individual stuff was happening. Okay, so. But see, I never. It was like, that's why it kind of seems like ridiculous, right? Like some of these videos, these TIs, it's like, man, that could just be anyone walking. They just are holding their phone like a cool guy. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, or other people, they would have like the same truck that kept following them or this or that. Okay, so I never had like this following like a person like a sense of someone following you. Like, it was never it was like always out of the blue. Like, so I'll just specifically talk about when I was on the walk with my son, and this lady, it's like she came out of nowhere, and like I said, I'll put the link to my video below when it actually happened and I was sharing it. But I just thought this lady was like, I'm like thinking, and as I'm listening to Flibbrun, I'm like, that's German for brown flower. If I didn't say it was German, it was German, yeah. But that's the name of her channel. I'm not sure what her real name is, but anyway, I resonate with her because she talks about, galactic and stuff. But anyway, when she was saying these things about these, I think it was when something Saturnians, I think that was in the title, because she was talking about them, but then she was also talking about, like these time traveler, it's like, as she was explaining it, I'm like, yeah, that sounds more and more like my experience, all these subtle little details, and I kept flashing back to my experience with this one woman, and I'm like, yeah, it seems much more like it was that kind of a thing, because like TI stuff, it's almost even hard to put your finger on, or they really they break into your house, do gaslighting. Okay, so I was getting like TI stuff, but more like directed energy stuff, okay, when I had all the Morgellons in my body, and then once I got it out, the voice to skull stopped, and the sound effects, right when you're about to fall into a deep sleep, because they have it mapped and scanned, they know exactly when you fall into that theta or whatever it is, okay, because like 3 times in a row, well, there was a couple different times. There was like a book slamming down on the table sound effect. And then I remember falling back asleep and hearing the same, right when I fell back to it, that moment when you're falling back into your sleep, getting jolted awake from this other morning. It was door knocking sounds. Like it was on my bedroom door, like not the front door, like right here, like on my bedroom door, like there was someone in the house, right? But it was so in your ear that it was like literally, because it's in your ear, okay? It's voice to skull, okay? So you would hear the muffled voices, okay? All that stuff went away once I did the baking soda water. But anyway, so this was around the time when like all this stuff was kind of happening. Now I've gained a little bit of perspective, and so as I'm listening to her and she's mentioning these different points, I'm going, yeah, okay. Because she was saying like, because the TI thing, is like they're more subtle, and that's why these people kind of look a little crazy, because it's like you're like that doesn't even seem like anyone's following you. Like you're really reaching there, you know. So those weren't the experiences that I was having. These they were just like coming out of nowhere. And really, it was only that one experience with that woman that I was just like, this is so odd. Is this some TI shit? But it was like not matching up with other TI people in their videos that I was watching. So I was just like, what was this lady's trip? Was she like on drugs or something? Why was she just so like, because she like came out of nowhere. I'm walking up and she crosses the street, but then she sees me, stops, takes this picture, and I'm looking like it's just up a driveway. Like, what is she taking a picture of? It wasn't like there was a house for sale, blah, blah. And I'll put the link below because I've explained, I'm just re-explaining all the same things, but like where I live in Grass Valley, it's like kind of like a hippie town. People walk around. I mean, not everybody. I mean, there's kind of like the old gold rush cowboy type, but like even the older people, like you see like people in their 80s, they dressed a little bit more like with the times than this woman was. She just seemed like out of the late 80s, early 90s, like just red rooster, this hair like it was glued on. It was just, and she was wearing sunglasses and tennis like, I don't know, like she was on a walk or a jog, but yet she was like up and down, like trying to get pictures of me and walk by me and like almost touch me, and so it was just weird. I was just like, and I mentioned that in the video. I was just like, it wasn't like she was wearing anything like out of the ordinary, but it was just like, just a little, just not right for someone who's discerning and very observant, has the eyes to see and the ears to hear. It was just like, just didn't quite. Because she was only maybe, you know, she seemed like maybe she was in her 50s, or maybe my age, but just like older for her age. But she seemed like, you know, I mean, she was about 10 years older than me, you know, like in her 50s, whatever. So it just seemed like, even for someone who's in their 50s, like I said, I've seen people who are in their 80s and and for her to be like all geared up in like her like spandex like jogging pants and shoes, and then for her to just be walking around taking pictures, it just didn't all these things didn't line up. And I mentioned in the video, like her hair, things seemed out of place, like her clothes. I was like, she didn't seem like she knew where she was, and then she just popped out of nowhere coming around the corner, and she wanted, it's just like, I show the whole diagram, it was like so obvious she wanted to be like, because she went back up and crossed to come back over onto the side I was. But it's like, if she was continuing down to the intersection, why didn't she just stay on the side she would? It didn't make any sense. And then when she got past me, she turned around and took more pictures of me. And when I saw her come back up, cross back over to come back over to the side I just was like, okay. Because I already saw, you know, she was already taking pictures of me from across the street. So I kept walking up forward, and she goes back and walks up forward and crosses, and I'm just like, just like so obvious, weird, like, that's what I was saying, it wasn't matching up with the TI stuff. So when I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna stand here, hand my son his little sippy cup back, like I said, I just put the brakes on the stroller and just stood there, and so I'm just keeping my eyes on her as she walks by, and she and I'm just going, and she walks by and she tries to like mumble something, almost like they almost want to like brush against you, touch you, interact with you, talk to. So it was weird. Okay, it was weird. I'm like, what? It was like almost invasive. With like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, if he was some creepy looking dude, I would have been like in my karate stance or something, like, because it was just weird. Okay, the way she walked out, she took a picture of me right across from where I was. So I was looked up from where she was. It was just a driveway that went up the hill there was just a couple houses back behind. I'm like, what is she taking a picture of? There was nothing there. It was just like right at me too. And then she goes back up the opposite way she came down because she's following me. She comes back, crosses the street, comes back, and like tries to mumble something, looks right at me, like tries to brush up against me. And I'm just standing still and silent and just observing her. Okay, now she passes me, so now she's down the hill. Now she has her back towards me, okay, but she lifts her phone over her head to take pictures because I'm up the hill, right? But you know, you can turn your phone, do the switch to, and so you can have it be face fronting camera. Okay, so that's what she did. And so she put it way over her head so she could see from the front what she was taking a picture of from the faceplate of her phone, right? Without turning around okay, so she just turned the view, so her back was to me, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, she's taking more like, what the hell? This is some weird shit. So I'm listening to Flibbrun, yes, sprechen Sie, sprechen Sie Deutsch. So I'm going, and this was like last year. I don't even know when. I'll put the video below and you can see for yourself when it was published. But I'm like, dude, and now I'm thinking these helicopters and because the helicopters and planes could whatever. I mean, but they seem like they came out of nowhere too. Like the time I was at the food bank, it was twice with this blue helicopter right over my head. Like they just wanted to like. I mean, they were just bug-eyed. The big helicopter, cop glasses, whatever, this blue, like baby blue helicopter. Twice. The same helicopter. Baby blue. And like when I was in my backyard, like flying right in, like so low, dude, like in between the houses and the buildings. Like if they were any lower, they would have got caught in the utility pole. Okay, that's just like is like a little bit taller than my house because it's it's Victorian with the attic and stuff, so it's pretty up there, but that's how low they were. Like I could see the dude's face, everything. They had the big old like camera pointed at me, and I'm just going like, and it wasn't nothing was even really happening at what posting things about chemtrails. I mean, I didn't think that was very significant. Because there's tons of people. I don't know. Am I like that? I'm thinking this is Grass Valley. There's got to be plenty of awake people here that are. I don't know why. Anyway, I just always felt. And she mentioned Sarah Connor and I'm like, dude, okay. My heater just kicked on right when I said that. Because ever since I watched that movie, and it's like, you think as a kid you don't think you're crazy, you don't really analyze your thoughts like that, you just have these passing thoughts, and I always, the first time I saw that movie, and interestingly enough, my uncle by marriage, so my dad's sister, her husband, ex-husband, but the father of her children and everything, Jim. A lot of Jameses in my life. My foster dad and his son Jimmy, and then my uncle Jim, and his dad was named Jim. Okay, so anyway, so it was my aunt's father-in-law. Okay, so his name was Jim, and he's actually in that movie American Sweethearts, where I forget what he said his name is in the movie, but his name is Jim Ferguson, but he might have said something Ferguson. But anyway, he's passed now, but he was such a sweet man. A beautiful home in Tucson. I remember how, and he had like, people who had money, but his friends were good, loving, good-hearted people. Like, just my Uncle Jim came from good stock. I'll just say that. I didn't get along with my aunt, my dad's sister. Nobody did, but not even her own kids. But I loved my Uncle Jim. Just so cool. From Chi-Town, Chicago. So his dad. Okay, so we all lived in Tucson when I was like in 5th grade. I lived with my aunt for a while. And so when we went there for Christmas little gathering, It was cool because, I mean, it wasn't set up for kids, that's for sure. It was really beautiful, though, set in Tucson, right? Tucson, also beautiful and lush, but it was kind of like on the canyony a little bit. And so, like, I think we were playing around with the ball, and it was just like, oh, baby, it's gone. When you're in the desert, and you're just like, yeah, so what, I mean, they were retired, and they didn't have any, their children were grown and stuff, so, they didn't live in a, like, child-friendly. I just remember thinking that, like, wow, you sure can't play here. It's like a steep cul-de-sac down to where they were. It was beautiful, though, what I'm saying, all the canyons and everything, but I just remember it, like, yeah, they don't need it set up for kids. They got their shit set up for how they want it, you know what I'm saying? Good for them. But I just remember they were so beautiful, such beautiful souls. Sensitive. He had remarried. I don't know if, I think his wife had died. Yeah, my Uncle Jim's mother was deceased, and he had remarried a beautiful soul. I remember she was allergic to lettuce, and so they made all their salads with cabbage. I just remember also she didn't let the kids play with toy guns because she came into the room. She's like, oh no one plays with toy guns, and she showed us, I think it was on her arm or hand or something, where she was shot as a kid. Through just people being, so she didn't even let kids play with toy guns. And she was just such a sweet, loving, I just remember that and being like, oh, you're such a dear soul. Like, I had such a heart connection with these people. So, and it was through my aunt, who I didn't really have any connection with, but through blood, but it led to, spirit family, breath family, okay? My Uncle Jim and his father and stepmother, so, or his father's wife. But the thing about, what was I going to talk about now? Oh yeah, so he's in that movie America's Sweetheart, and that's what he used to do for a living. It's when they're doing the junket and they get interviewed by a bunch of people. He's like the kind of, I don't know, got like short, brownish gray hair, and just, anyway, that's my great Uncle Jim, anyway. And he did that, literally, that was his job for a living, and they just put him in a little cameo appearance in that movie. But I think that's the only thing he ever did as far as appearing in a movie. But for a living, he interviewed, that's what he did, was interview movie stars and stuff. And so he had all these recordings, his whole hallway downstairs leading up to his little office, where he had them all on, I think all on beta, or like VHS. They were all on beta. At that time, beta was like the new good, the cool. They were smaller than VHS, right? They were just like 2 inches smaller than a VHS tape. But he had all down his hall. He had Cheech and Chong, all these signed photos, and my brother, being the Taurus, okay, triple Taurus, he was so intrigued by like the glamour, the this and that. He's like, oh yeah, let's go. I wasn't too, but I was like, oh yeah, I was all like, kind of idolized my brother, so whatever he was doing, I was like, cool, yeah. And he's very talented, just artistic, sporty, gorgeous, looked like Keanu Reeves and Claude Van Damme mix. My older sister said that. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what Jay looks like. Jason. So he was like, let's go watch the video of, let's go watch the Arnold tape. Because he had interviewed Arnold Schwarzenegger. He interviewed the Three Amigos right there in his on his own property in his backyard. And so I thought that was cool, because I was like into comedy and stuff. But my brother loved Conan, not Conan O'Brien. I loved him though, like the Warrior, Conan the Barbarian, all that. So I think did he play He-Man, or I don't know, something like that. Anyway, but my brother loved, I think at that point I had seen Commando. Terminator hadn't come out yet, because I was in 5th grade and my brother was in 7th grade. So if I was born in 76, that was like 86. I don't know if, I don't think Terminator had come out quite yet. But definitely Commando had, and I just remember my brother was just so like intrigued watching. He's like, "Let's watch. You want to watch it again?" But I thought my uncle, my great uncle, his hallway was so cool because it's just lined with all these photos, signed all these famous people. Sally Field and just whoever, Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, Cheech and Chong, Arnold Schwarzenegger, everyone and anyone you could think of. Just the Three Amigos, everyone of the time of whoever pretty much was famous. That he had a picture signed from, but God, I don't know if he probably had like Tom Cruise, whatever, but I just thought it was like so cool, like so. He just made it seem so accessible, and because he was just so down to earth and simple. I mean, he didn't talk about any of that stuff. He had his little. It was all dedicated to one little hallway in a room, like downstairs, and so it wasn't like all over the house. It wasn't something he talked about. His friends weren't hobnobbers and they were just all cool, mellow, down to earth, just family people. And of course, my great uncle, was older. They're like in their 50s and some, whatever. Because my uncle and aunt were like in their 30s at that time, I think. So yeah, so just beautiful old souls, rich souls, and had plenty of money. They could have had really fancy everything, but they were just very modest. Everything was nice and clean, new, nice, all that, but nothing fancy. Just no oohs and ahs over things. And I just really, as a Capricorn, I respected that. And my brother, being the triple Taurus, he loved like he loved the fancy parties, nice clothes, and the swag of it all. And famous people, especially Arnold, just obsessed with him as a child, and Bruce Lee. Kung Fu was his favorite show with David Carradine, or what's his name. So anyway, I don't know, why did I start talking about my uncle? Oh gosh, I can't even remember now. But yeah, okay, well, I just shared a little bit of my life with you. The Sarah Connor. What a tangent. Let's hurry up and wrap this up, because that's 22 minutes 44 seconds of babble. 22:44 of Babylon. Yeah, so I always, ever since I saw that movie, like I was saying, at that time I don't think I had seen Terminator, hadn't come out yet, but the first time I saw that, I think it was like a rerun I think it was on TV the first time I saw Terminator. Unless we rented it or something. I didn't see it in the theater. So it might have been out at the time and I just didn't see it till whatever. But I think, knowing my brother, I think I would have seen it by then, in 5th grade. So I can't remember when it came out, but I just remember having this experience, like, and I've had so many dreams of like people like taking my baby or trying to distract me, and there's this woman who had like all these papers like saying that was her child and blah 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 and all this stuff. And whenever I remember seeing an episode of Chips, where this woman had lost a child, and so she kidnapped this baby in a grocery store, and there was this whole big emotional thing, and they got the child back, but they counseled the woman, and I just remember that I was like, oh God, that hit me so hard, like, right in my like sacral shot, like just pain of, I don't know, lifetime after lifetime memories of just people trying to get at your child, you know what I'm saying? Just, so when I saw that movie, God, I don't know, it was like nine, however old I was, I don't know, very young. So I just, and I had no reason to have it, at that point I didn't know past lives or anything about that stuff. I mean, I always had I always had precognitive dreams, like since all the way back since I can remember, since I was like 3. I'd have dreams, and then like about a person 3 days later they'd be in town or call or this, that. So all throughout my life I've had precognitive dreams. Or people call it prophetic or this or that. I mean, it's not necessarily prophetic if you dream about your friend who's gonna show up, whatever, you know. So I just say precognitive, yeah. And I just remember thinking, like, I have no reason, no reference point at all to be resonating. I didn't know what resonation was or anything, but I'm just going like this child watching Sarah Connor in this movie, Terminator, and I'm thinking, that's me. Why is that me? Why do I keep thinking that's me? Why do I feel like this is me? And I've moved so much in my life. I feel just, oh geez, like how many different schools, and I'm not even being an army brat. And I'm like, what? How many times have I had to move in different schools I had to been to? And like, this is some Sarah Connor shit. And just the thing with my son, and I'm just like, you know, oh come on, I'm just like, got my screen went black there for a second. Okay, let's wrap this up. So anyway, yeah, I just thought that it was just so weird. Why did I, and that always just, and I'd seen it more than once. So, and every time I would see that, I would just be like, why am I feeling like this? Like, I get kind of weird, nervous, like I wouldn't like to watch it because of that. Like that eerie feeling that I had, that I resonated so much with Sarah Connor and her situation and her having a child that they were going to come get. No. So anyway, and then this weird chick that's like following me around, that comes out of nowhere. There was this big like bomber plane that came out of nowhere. It was, it was so low, dude. It scared me. Like I ducked because even though it's, like whatever, 20 feet above my head, it was so low and loud. I ducked. I'm like, should I cover my son's ears? But it was so low that it went by really fast, but just enough to like clear the hill that was right to my right. That's just a little, neighborhood hill, okay, with houses and all utility poles and all. And I'm just like, and it looked like an old ass bomber. And I know people buy old, and there's, Beale Air Force Base or whatever it is near Grass Valley, so up in Northern California here. So yeah, there's lots of planes and this and that, and it's in Sacramento's only an hour south and blah blah blah, whatever. But it's just weird how they just came out of nowhere so low, just out of nowhere, this big old loud helicopter, big old loud plane. It's not like you hear it come in from the distance. It just comes right over the trees, like right over like it just came out of nowhere, like literally. Like, I know it sounds crazy, like it just manifested, materialized out of a portal or something. Okay, just like how the ship did that one day when it's just hanging in the sky for 5 minutes, and I recorded the sunset and stuff and that day I just like, okay, I have to get out of the house. I was going nuts with whatever and the timing of the bus and everything, and when we were leaving with the crow squawking at me a couple times, I'm like, okay. And it's like, saw this purple mist. I'm like, what's going on over here? Because like to the southeast was that purple red sunset double thing, all the double sunset happening. And then I'm like, wait, what's going on over here? So this purple mist looked like it was all lit up by light, so I could see that it was like purple mist out of nowhere, and like super shiny, just like I saw in my backyard that one time. But that was at a distance, and that was only in the sky for maybe a minute, maybe a minute at the most. This one it was for a few minutes, maybe like 5 minutes. It seems it was a long time. Like I had to put the brakes on the stroller and everything, and I was thinking about grabbing my phone. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna chill and see how long this stays in the sky for. I don't need to. What do I need to have documentation for proof for who? I'm not in the business of, what's your business? My business is just living my life. I don't need to have proof of stuff. But for it to, and it was funny because as soon as it dematerialized, it was like that those planes were on it, and then they had those red and white. It was right where the red and white, those, I guess to show planes that there's a hill there, okay, at night or whatever. And as soon as it dematerialized, it was like boom, boom, boom. They were on that. A plane flew over and like followed me on. Then the lights on the red and white tower, they look like sticks, like red and white sticks with little lights on the top, for the air. So those were turned on immediately. The plane came. So I'm like, I know what I saw because I blinked, and put my hands on my hip, cocked my hip. I'm like, wow, this is taking a while. I had to like even rest on one leg, you know what I'm saying? When you're standing somewhere for a while and you start getting uncomfortable, I'm like, might as well put the brakes on the stroller and just cock my hip and just hang out. And they were like, that plane was on it, like, so that must be a little, and it was just a super shiny, just like the ship I saw that day in my backyard, the same day that all the filament drift they were spraying that day. Okay, that was the day of the first sighting I ever had. Okay, so this day was like just super obvious. Okay, but it did the same exact thing. It appeared out of nowhere. It didn't move. It just, you see it glowing in the very center, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you see, oh, there's a ship there now. Super shiny, just stayed in the same spot. Okay. Excuse me. And then, like for a few minutes, okay, so it stayed right there, just looked like it was just a few feet above the mountain there, okay, like just materialized, that purple mist, it just materialized, and then it stayed there. Super shiny, just like the other one, like titanium, super shiny, just like the Morgellons hexagon things, super shiny titanium. And then it shrunk back down, and then it was gone. Okay, it's just like a dimmer on a light bulb. Okay, just grows from the center till it's full size and stay there, and then shrunk down to nothing again. Okay, it wasn't like it's not there, and then the whole thing's there, and then the whole thing's gone. It starts from the center and materializes into full form, and then it shrinks back down into the center core and dematerializes. That's how it materializes and dematerializes. So there's got to be vortexes and portals and all kinds of stuff around this area in Grass Valley, California, and very the most successful gold rush towns in California, so there's a lot of gold here, so it makes sense that, I don't know, there's this vortex, and this is just one of the hot spots, one of the hot zones, for whatever reason, energetically, the crystalline grid here, where, so I'm definitely where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I'm just living in Magic Town. Even with weird things that go, I'm really doing that, witnessing my life, like, just like I do in a dream. Okay, I'm doing that in my waking dream too, and it's like these magical, mystical experiences, more flickery, shiny things the more I maintain that vibration, the more you see evidence of the love and the support and the guidance around you constantly, okay? Protecting you while you're sleeping, all of that. The more you stay in love and not fear, the more you will see the magic manifest in your 3D reality, okay? In your tangible experience. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting with Flöbrunn. And and I wanted to mention the area. Okay, that's why I mentioned the ship, was because the second sighting where I saw was hanging out there, and the raven was talking to me that day, and I was I was thinking, because that area where we were at, it's still Grass Valley, but it's just like, different areas of town have a different, like Santa Rosa has Rincon Valley, Bennett Valley, different little valley. Okay, so it has different little, it's still all Santa Rosa. Okay, so it's all Grass Valley, but they have like Brunswick, okay, which means brown witch. So, and then that I was watching Fleur Brun, Brown Flower, Brown, Brunswick, Brown Witch, okay? And I was getting all this Bear and Brun and Baron and Ursa May, so all this, okay, so anyway, lots of synchronicities with her, and so you know, so yeah, there was a lot that she was saying that I was resonating with and going, yeah, now it's making sense, because I was trying to relate it to the TI thing, and I'm like, but it was kind of like an isolated thing, and it's not matching up with other TI stuff. And it was like kind of around the same time as like that helicopter twice. It's like it came out of the food bank. I made a donation of came out, and then it's like a helicopter just came from behind these trees, like where a house is right there in trees, and it's just it's so loud. I'm like, fuck you, fucking motherfucker! I cuss because it scared the shit out of me, and I'm just like. And I'm looking around the other people in the parking lot, and it's just like, it's just a helicopter flying over. And I'm thinking, like, dude, if it was any lower, it would have cut my head off with the freaking... And I'm thinking, like, is everybody else stoned? What is, like... Am I the only one who is, like, shocked, like, startled by this huge sound and helicopter right over your head just out of nowhere? Okay, it wasn't like you heard it come up... Like, you can hear it coming from the distance, okay? It's just like, boom, a loud sound. It's right there, okay? So that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, yeah, it could just, yeah, there's planes and helicopters around, and you're being harassed or followed TI stuff. But it's more than just that, because it's just like, it comes out of nowhere. And it's just so awkward how they're not even trying to be... elusive or anything like. So anyway, yeah, I think what she was saying, she was right on with that, because I really was resonating with that, and it was lining up and syncing up with these other things that weren't making sense when I was trying to line it up with other things, and I'm going like, I don't know, but so yeah. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. 3711. Okay, we're done. Blah 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 ski. I love you all. Peace, blessings.